everybody, it is Wednesday morning and I am just about to make some breakfast. I wanted to share this with you. It's an oatmeal recipe, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. I know it's funny, I'm not having sweet potatoes, isn't that bizarre? But I wanted to do something different. This is a recipe called banana bread growing oatmeal, and the growing oatmeal, move that over, idea comes out of the Hungry Girl Clean and Hungry cookbook here. She has a lot of different growing oatmeal recipes, and basically the premise behind it is that you use like twice as much liquid as you would normally use because you're using like a half cup of oatmeal, per person, and then you're going to grow it with twice as much liquid. So I have in here half a cup of oatmeal, 1 cup of, I'm using the unsweetened cashew milk, and then 1 cup of water. And then she adds, some sweetener packets, which I'm out. And when I'm out of sweetener packets, I just add a little bit of the skinny syrup flavoring, which sweetens it right up. Gives a little bit more of a flavor too. I'm also going to add in 1 mashed banana. So this is the recipe here. She's got some really great recipes in here for the growing oatmeal, but I wanted to try it and see how well it kept me full and for how long. All right, so in the pot I've got my oats. I've got, she's saying to put in like a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm just going to kind of eye it, to my taste. I like a lot of cinnamon, just a dash of salt, and then I'm going to add in all of the liquid, and she says 1/8 teaspoon of vanilla, and to tell you the truth, since I'm using the vanilla syrup, I could probably leave that out, but I added it anyway, and I'm going to add the mashed banana. I just added my mashed bananas in, and I'm just going to add a little splash of the skinny syrup. I just found out I should have added the banana after I brought it to a boil, then bring it down to a simmer, then add the banana. And then I got to cook it for 12 to 15 minutes. So this grew to an enormous amount of oatmeal. I actually left 1/4 of it behind because I couldn't have it, and I topped it with a 1/4 cup of the non-fat plain yogurt, which I sweetened it up with the skinny syrup, and I added just a handful of pecans on top. And I have to tell you, it tasted amazing. But it was so much. It is Thursday morning, and I just wanted to check in with you. So I really liked that oatmeal. I thought it was great, and I think it's a great idea. I'm going to try some of her other recipes, but I did notice there was a different type of a fullness that I had with oatmeal as opposed to with sweet potatoes. With sweet potatoes, I get satiated and I get satisfied, but I don't feel like, I'm so full that I have to wait for this to digest so I can return to normal life. And that's the way I feel when I have oatmeal. It does raise my insulin level a little bit more, leaves me feeling a little lightheaded, and I don't get that with sweet potatoes at all because it is a slower digesting carb into my system. And so for that reason, I think that, I tolerate it better than I do with oatmeal. So I think I'll just do that every now and then, have the oatmeal. But it was very tasty, very good, and I do recommend the recipe. So anyway, about the Weight Watcher account debacle, I want to thank you guys for being so supportive. There were some suggestions to sit down with my leader and explain it to her, and I can tell you that I have done that at least a couple of times. And so, we really haven't got it. What she ends up doing, she's very supportive and very, understanding, and does agree that this shouldn't be happening. But she usually just gives me a phone number of somebody who she just swears could help, and then I call her, and we're back to square one. But anyway, so what they did, I had in my mind this morning, okay, I've decided, I thought about it yesterday long and hard, and I decided to switch to the online only account, right? And So then I open up my my app, and guess what? My monthly pass is there. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm charged at the beginning of the month, and it does not show up until the middle of the month. And then on the 14th today is when it showed up. So now it says I have the monthly pass, which expires April 1st. So I get a good 2 weeks to use my monthly pass before I disappear again until April 14th, I guess, right? Even though they're going to charge me April 1st. So this is the thing that they can't seem to get right? So anyway, I think what I'm going to do, since I have the pass and I have already paid for it this month, I'm going to just write out the next 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to weigh in or not, because in my mind, I think what I'm going to do is switch back to online application anyway at the end of this month. And that includes if I have to pay a cancellation fee or whatever. It's just worth it to me not to have the headache and not to have something to get upset about, you know, with all this. I'd rather just have it all in my power again and just go back to the online, right? And at least I'm saving $30 a month by not being upset by this screw up. Anyway, so that's where we're at on that. So anyway, let's get the day rolling, and I'll show you what I have for breakfast. All right, so for breakfast, I am having my 7-point smoothie. I've got a load of spinach here, 1 tablespoon of the sunflower butter, a half of a sweet potato that's cooked, skin and all. I've got, you know, a little bit of cinnamon, some skinny syrup for sweetening, 2 tablespoons of the whole milk yogurt, a 1/4 cup of the non-fat yogurt, 1 cup of cashew milk unsweetened, and 1 cup of water. And I'm going to whirl it all up in here. I also have a half a cup of this protein powder. I usually use another brand, but I'm trying to use what I have in my cupboard, and it fits perfectly in my wonderful water cup. All right, so I have this IKEA salmon, and I really love the IKEA salmon packets that they have. This is a tomato herb one. The other dill one is really, really good. It's only like a couple points for like a 1/4 cup or something. It's really low, and it is definitely worth changing the whole salmon flavor. Okay, so I have a recipe out of this book here that I want to share with you. All these companies got together and figured out some light recipes, I guess. And I found this book at one of my favorite thrift stores. It's called Light Cooking, and it is a creamy chicken corn chowder. I'll show you what goes in there. Got a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Normally all my veggies would be frozen for this recipe. I've got onion, except the onion, of course. I've got a couple of fresh carrots that I diced up here. I've got frozen veggies, and then I've got about 3 cups of chicken breasts here, which I bought some rotisserie chickens, and I cut them up and separated the breast from the dark meat, and I really saved a lot of money because I bought them a day old from the deli at Walmart, and I saved a boatload of cash. All right, I'm going to use some canned peas and corn. Normally I'd probably use frozen. I'm going to use 3 cups of hash browns, and then I have, I think it was 2 cups or 3 cups. 4 cups of the broth, 2 cups of cashew milk, a 1/4 cup of flour, 2 bay leaves, and a little pepper. Normally maybe you'd want to use 1 bay leaf, but I'm dangerous that way. Okay, so I'm going to brown the carrots and the onions in the olive oil. Then when it's tender, I add the flour, and I'm going to just make sure that's all evenly dispersed. And then I'm going to add in my liquid, my cashew milk, and my broth. And you could use like, you know, real milk if you wanted for a nice deeper flavor. And at this point, I would add in a bouillon if you wanted it to be a little bit more, because this isn't very salty. And quite honestly, I think next time I would definitely add bouillon at this point. Okay, so now it's thickening up. Once it's thick, I add the bay leaves, and I add the peas and the corn and everything else. Okay, once it comes to a boil and it thickens, then you add all the veggies, the hash browns. I wouldn't add the chicken yet until this is cooked down a bit, and you bring it to a boil again. It's already looking so good. And then once it comes to a boil again, then you add the chicken and the pepper and then you simmer it for maybe, I don't know, another 5 minutes or so. So it cooks relatively fast, as long as you keep, you bring it to boil a couple of times. But look how nice and thick it is. And it's just, I got to tell you, this was amazing. I had this for lunch. I had this for dinner. My husband loved it. My kids loved it. And they're not soup eaters, but they really loved this. I will be doing this one again. If you're wanting nice, hot soup on a cold day, this one will really hit the spot. It's creamy, it's very comforting, and it's only 3 points for, if you get 10 servings out of this, which is about 1.5 cups or so, you're only going to have 3 points. So this is the bouillon that I ended up adding 2 teaspoons of to bring the flavor up a little bit. I do recommend it. I really like this. It's very... I don't know, very flavorful. And this one's a veggie flavor, although they have chicken and beef. So for dinner, I had a little bit of that and asparagus and yams. I also took home the, what was this called? The Skydiver Award for my Fitbit, and also the Ferris Wheel Award came in, and I was really jazzed about that. I wanted to share that. It is Friday morning, and very quickly, I want to weigh in, tell you how my weigh-in went. I weighed in at home. You understand why if you've been watching my videos. My scale at home tends to run a little higher than the one at Weight Watchers, so that makes me extra happy about the weigh-in this week. So it looks to me like I am 1.4 down from the Weight Watcher weigh-in last week. So I knew I was like, there was a significant loss. I felt like that this week, but I didn't know what it was. And so I had to wait for some water weight to come down, because the day I made that rant video, I got so upset. I ate a small bag of Doritos, which was like 5 points, right? And then I also had a serving of the pretzel chips, which were the hot wing flavor. Those are so good. I don't recommend buying them if you have a hard time stopping eating chips, because they're so good. But if you're looking for flavor, those are amazing. But they're like, I think 10 chips for 3 points, which for me is a little bit high. But anyway, I had to wait for that water weight to go down, and it was down this morning. So I got a real, good reading this morning, and I'm so happy about that. But anyway, so I wanted to let you know about that. And also, I was a little worried about this weigh-in, because Thursday and Friday of last week, we were on our road trip, right? And we had some fast food. But I noticed that something I have started to do is, I don't know if this whole sweet potato challenge has influenced me this way or not. I'm thinking, it's really changed some things with me, and I'm much more conscious of the flavors of what I'm eating. And so I've decided that, when eating out, if I don't like something, if I fully am not enjoying it, I am not going to use my calories and my points on it at all. If that means I don't like wasting food, but if that means that, it goes to waste, hey, at least it's not going to waste in my... I've decided unless I'm really enjoying it, I'm not going to eat it, right? But anyway, even if it's junky and I like it, if it's junky and I like it, I'll take the hit, right? But if it's junky and I don't like it, why should I? But anyway, also I'm going to be doing a, a haul video later, because I am going to challenge myself for different reasons, which I'll explain later, to keep my budget, my grocery budget this week to $50. I have to shop my pantry and my freezer. I'm a little stocked, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try to find some creative ways to do that. So I will let you know how that goes. So yeah, I just wanted to check in with you guys. So I'm going to put this video up, and I will see you later on the haul and what I eat later. All right, love you guys. Have a wonderful Friday.